Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Miren and I'm a personal stylist, and today we're going to be talking about the soft natural body type. Now this is all based off of kibbe body system, which basically depends on where your yin and yang sits in your body, and that can be softness, musculature, bone, frame, curves, a lot. With this body type, they are part of the natural family, except they have this softness, this juiciness sitting on top of a wider muscular frame. Quick reminder before we get in, this is not a style necessarily, it is a frame. It is a body line guide, and so take what you will from it, but really focus on what I'm describing in terms of the body structure and how the clothing sits on top of that structure. This is not for every single soft natural, so you don't have to have every single one of these characteristics to be a soft natural. Just the overall picture should look like this. So you're a soft natural if you have a moderate height, you're not super petite and you're not very tall. You've got wide shoulders, your rib cage is wider. I know a lot of the other naturals have this as well, but it fits into the soft natural. Some people feel like they have to almost accommodate a size up for the width of their shoulders in relation to the rest of their body. The body flesh is soft, not musculature, it's not lean. It is fleshier, softer, regardless of your weight. And it typically sits on the arms, a little bit on the hips and the thighs, and kind of in the upper areas. So it does kind of give a soft hourglass shape. It's not as extreme as romantics or even soft dramatics, but it is still there. They do have that shape for women. For men and women, whenever they bulk up or get lots of muscle tone, they still will have that softness just sitting on top, regardless of where they are on their weight, where they are on the muscle journey, because they are natural, so they do have musculature, but they have soft flesh sitting on top. So that's why you've got the wideness and then the softness. That blunt wideness with soft, feminine leaning, so yin softness. And even as they lose weight, they're never gonna look bony, like their frame is not gonna be the first thing you notice. It's still going to be the shape, the wideness, but with softness sitting on top of that frame. They'll have a long arms and legs, just like the naturals, and most of the body types from the dramatics down to this have that characteristic. Their hands and feet will be larger, typically, so less like thin and long and more wide and not too long, like moderate size. The men who are soft naturals will have that musculature just like the other naturals, but like I said, with a little bit more softness sitting on top. They're also smaller versions of the other naturals. They're a little cuter, a little less intense in the musculature side, and also height-wise and the V-shape wise. So they do still have that V-shape frame, but it's not as in a larger sense as the flamboyant naturals or the naturals. It is just a smaller version, but still noticeable. Women specifically, yes, they will have an hourglass shape typically, but not as extreme as maybe a romantic, a theatrical romantic, a soft dramatic. It's soft. It's there and you notice it, so they do need waist emphasis, and it does go in at their waist. But as they gain weight, they do tend to gain weight a little bit everywhere, especially where they have the most softness. And their waist does kind of get a little bit lost when they do gain weight. You are not this body type if you are extremely petite, extremely tall, or appear very tall. You're not this body type if you have very narrow and straight hips, or narrow and straight shoulders, narrow and straight frame. If your bones look very petite and delicate, that does not sit in any of the naturals, especially the soft naturals. If you have very lean limbs when you gain or lose weight, or if you build muscle and it looks leaner, drier as opposed to soft, then you're not this body type. And if you are all around moderate and very symmetrical looking, no. The overall shape and structure that you want with this body type in terms of your clothing is just like all the other naturals, relaxed, unconstructed, but this time it does have waist emphasis. Not as extreme, but your waist in every outfit should be there, should be cinched. This also does kind of work with men as well as women. With saying that, it just is more of like a French tuck situation, or they do look good if they tuck in their shirts. Whereas the naturals and the flamboyant naturals, they don't have to do that at all, and it just looks cool. Looks a little messier, a little bit like it's missing something when they don't tuck in, or they don't have that French tuck look as much with men. Of course, this isn't a stay true rule, but just generally. And when I say unconstructed and relaxed, I really do mean it cascades over your body and mimics the body structure as it goes down that natural frame. So for soft natural, you want flowy where it's soft and a little bit more tapered where things go in, and then just sitting on top anything that's kind of musculature and open. You want minimal details, and very natural fibers tend to sit well because the natural fibers are that nice balance between soft and a little bit stiff, but not too soft and not too stiff. And again, soft waist emphasis on every outfit as much as you can. For your tops, you want loose and draped and open. I like to think that because you have width in this area more than any other area in your body, it's nice to kind of let it breathe. That's where there's muscle with softness sitting on top, as well as your hips and as well as your thighs. So in those two areas, you do want openness. You want to just kind of let it be shown. It is a bit like putting it on display, but by doing that, you're only embracing it. And you're making it look more natural, more intentional, more harmonious, versus trying to cover it up actually gives you the opposite effect. It makes it look wider than it is. It makes it look stuffed in. Some people describe it as they feel like a linebacker when things are just too tight and too closed off on the upper side. Again, you want things to be minimal detail, so in terms of pattern or in terms of ornateness, keep it at a minimum. For naturals in general, they can do patterns, but they are medium-sized and not fully round, not fully sharp. But with soft naturals, you can go more on the round side, more florals, a bit more of that feminine, luscious side. Wrap tops would look incredible. Some do look good in the peplum style, but it has to be a relaxed peplum. It can't be extreme, 2010s peplum. It needs to be slightly emphasized waist as a top, and that is if you're not tucking in your shirt to your pants. Then you're creating a waist with your top with those wrap or soft peplum tops. For your sleeves, it is so beautiful on soft naturals to have just flowy fabric sitting on top of the softness, and this is true for a lot of the soft body types. I just think it's so beautiful on it. It mimics the softness here, and it just looks so intentional, like a work of art. And with that, you don't want anything too wide, too free-flowing, too much. Just keep it medium. Medium flow on the arms and on the shoulders is really beautiful. If you're gonna have like a longer sleeve, when it's tapered at the wrist, the smallest part of your arm, it looks so nice on soft naturals. You can do things that are a little bit oversized, but do not lose that waist. Do the French tuck. And also experiment with this. Not every soft natural is going to feel comfortable with such like big pieces. So it's really finding your balance, and what oversized means to you may be different to another soft natural. So just keep that in mind. And when I say too tight fitting, I just mean there needs to be a little bit of air between you and the garment. And a few of the body types, they look good with this. And with soft naturals, this is true. But if you are going to do something tight fitting on top, just balance it out with the bottom being a little flowier, a little less tight. And keep in mind your areas. So you've got your top part, like the shoulders, your neck, and your chest area, and then you've got your waist. If everything is tight and closed off and everything, you will look stuffed, like a sausage stuffed into the sausage thing. I don't know what it's called, but you have to let some areas breathe to balance it all out. And in doing that, you could have like tight at the waist and then like looser on top. It can drape in and have tightness around the ankle, around the wrists. Just play with those, dynamics. For sweaters, they do look really good in kind of slightly oversized sweaters, nothing too oversized, but a chunkier knit than a really thin knit. They can do thin knit, but if it's in a relaxed style and not too tight to the body, then it's all good. It's really more about the overall effect you're doing. Like a super small knit, tight turtleneck is gonna feel a little too stuffy for someone in this body type. But if you've got something that maybe still is thin knit, but in a more relaxed nature that kind of drapes a little bit, then that works. For your bottoms, look for pants that do help to hug those curves. Like, you don't want anything too tight, but you do want something that does accentuate that curve line, that softness there, that looks beautiful. Anything that kind of just sits on top of that. You can wear those paper bag pants for men and women, depending on the style and your personal leg shape. Some look really good where it tapers in at the ankles. Others, it might look better as kind of like a slight wide leg. You'll look really good in jeans, so embrace that. Get those curve hugging jeans. The material too is super important here. There are so many types of jean materials. The softer, stretchier ones, that's your vibe. Nothing too extremely tight, but maybe a bootleg or a slight flared jean is gonna look really, really good on soft naturals. You can do skinny jeans, but just keep in mind that it's not like suffocating your frame. Like, you do want it a little bit. That's why straighter cuts, bootlegs, do tend to look a little bit better on soft naturals. But again, depending on your personal leg shape, you can experiment with that. And you'll start to know if you feel wider than you actually are, then it probably is not the right fit for you. You can do high-waisted. I would not go to any extremes, like keep it slightly moderate because you are moderate size, and just keeping that proportions in a moderate fashion. Otherwise, your legs are gonna look super off compared to the top half. Linen pants, I mean, I think this is kind of a little bit overdone as in terms of advice for naturals to use linen fabrics, but there's a reason behind it. The thing is, linens and some cottons are that perfect blend of some structure and softness. And they're in a natural fiber, which looks incredible on you. It has that relaxed feel. So yes, linen pants with a drawstring look really good again on soft naturals as they do on the other naturals. But just keep in mind that you're going to be tucking in those shirts to give that shape. For skirts, wrap skirts look incredible on soft naturals, especially ones that are a little looser, a little bit more relaxed. You can go shorter, but midi length is for sure the best length on naturals. It just keeps everything proportional. Anything too long on a soft natural might look like you're being dragged down, and anything that is too short may make you look stumpy. It makes the wideness just accentuated, and all of a sudden you look just wide and all your proportions are off. But play around. Some people will look better in a slightly shorter length and some a little longer, so you just have to find your sweet spot. You'll know if you take a video of yourself wearing it and you just look wider than you are in comparison to the other one, or you look shorter all of a sudden. Just play around with it. Shorts that have some roundness and billowing a little bit to kind of accentuate, enhance, accommodate for those beautiful curves look so good, but you don't want anything too stiff in fabric, so keep it a little soft. Maybe something that doesn't go in at the end of your hips or at the end of that curve line, just maybe slightly comes out would look really nice. Maybe a little bit of a frill. Don't go too crazy now, but you can. Depending on your essences, you may be able to pull that off. Shorts with a drawstring, also really great. Shorts that are in linen, cottons, maybe some silks could really work. Dresses, you want to keep these, again, relaxed, unconstructed, but with some waist emphasis. So that means wrap dresses look incredible. Something a little bit flowy, but not overly so. I know that people think of the bohemian style when they think of naturals, and the only reason for that is because the boho style is flowy. It is a little bit more relaxed. So you can lean to that. If your essences don't go there, or that's just not your style, just don't do it. You want to keep, again, the softness and flowiness around your shoulders. I like to think that some spaghetti straps can be a little bit too dainty on naturals, especially soft naturals. You do want it to be a little thicker and a little bit softer and a little bit open in this area. Again, nothing too tight fitting with dresses. If you do want to do something tight and fitted, keep it balanced. Like either the bottom half is tight and the upper part is a little bit looser, or vice versa. Play around with those because everyone's going to be a little bit different in what they can handle with their specific soft natural body type. Just ensure that all your dresses, again, have kind of this openness, this softness, but not in an extreme fashion in any way, and always with that waist emphasis, lightly. You can do this by putting a belt on something if you don't have one, or if something is very tight and has none of that waist emphasis, you can throw on a flowy scarf to kind of give that flowiness. You might see Chester just poke his little head out. A little bit of flowiness to your outfit, and then you don't lose that element that makes you feel a little less restrained by such tight clothing. Outerwear, your jackets want to be a little bit flowy, but not in any extreme sense. That waterfall look, I know, was very cool at one point, and there's no reason why you can't keep wearing those, especially if it fits your body type, and there are so many out there. Anything that kind of has like rolled and relaxed sleeves looks kind of cool. You want to look for suedes, for leather, but soft leather, some silks, anything like a teddy could look really good. Knit type of fabrics in a jacket could look really cool. Anything that is soft and not too stiff is going to look incredible. A really good length, again, is that midi, but you can go a little bit shorter as well. Just make sure that your waist is emphasized, that something is slightly flowy, not too constricted, and remove, never, ever have shoulder pads. I'm telling you right now, you will thank me. Get the shoulder pads out of here. It's not gonna work for you. Definitely avoid those like super stiff structured jackets, like a pea coat that is just sculpted. No. With the accessories, you want to keep them just like the other naturals, in natural fibers, so leathers, woven. That looks really good. It doesn't have to be, depending on your essence, so disregard if your essence goes against that. Follow that. But you want and can handle some rounded accessories. That can be in your jewelry, it can be in your bags. Your shoes, toed shoes, will be blunt and not too rounded, but you can do rounded and it still looks good. You will look equally as good in sneakers, canvas shoes, just like your natural sisters there. But if you wanted to keep it a little bit dressed up, you can just keep it rounded. Keep it soft. And that's it. That's soft naturals. Done. I hope this was helpful, and if you are a soft natural, let me know in the comments below. I find that this is a pretty common body type. Some are rarer than others in terms of all the kibbe body types, so I'm always fascinated to hear if this is you and how you feel in these lines and whether or not you resonate with what I showed today. If you have any questions, concerns too, you can ask below. I hope you all have a beautiful and stylish day.